So earlier this year, I got one of these, the Oculus Quest 2 VR headset made by everybody's favorite, Facebook. Obviously, I didn't love getting a VR headset from Facebook, especially when they made you sign in with a Facebook account. You know, it's just another excuse for them to steal all your tasty little data to feed Zucky Zuck's robot brain.
Senator, we run ads.
But it was $299. $299 for a VR headset. I can play games off the Steam store. Oculus has their own store. And honestly, really, I just wanted to hang out in my own virtual house. And this was the first VR headset I really experienced, the first one I got. I thought VR would be cool. And honestly, it is cool. It's really cool. I mean, the fact that for $299, I can feel like I'm in a whole nother place just by strapping this thing onto my head. It feels so real. When I used my friend's before I got mine, he got a boxing game where you can like square up with the dude. And I did not expect this, but when I went toe to toe with this guy, he's taller than me, this virtual dude, I actually like felt a physical response. Like I felt adrenaline rush getting ready for the fight. Like it really, if you can trick your eyes, you can trick your brain. That's when I knew VR, there's something there. It's going places. However, when I got my own and I started using it, there are some problems, okay? One of the biggest problems that I noticed was you feel immersed in this other world, but there's things you want to bring in like a book or your phone. You want to sit and watch Netflix, and there is a great Netflix app, but there's a couple problems. Number one, the headset is kind of blurry. It's kind of weird. You have to have it in just the right place on your eyes to be able to see. And then even on the fringes, you can't really see. So obviously that's going to get better. They're going to fix that. But it's kind of distracting when you're trying to do something visual. And then the second thing is that it's not very comfortable. I know there are better straps than this one, but even still, this only you can really see well when it's like pressed firmly against your face. It's not that comfortable. You know, you end up getting like a red line right around here. It's not something you want to do for a 2-hour movie, you know? So between the blurriness and the uncomfortability, I wasn't really enjoying watching Netflix on it. So imagine my joy, my elation when I found out about this VR/AR company based out of France called Lynx. When I saw the stuff that the Lynx guys were doing, I was like, this is so smart. This is going to be so great. Let me show you a little footage of what it looks like. So this is their headset, and this is what augmented reality looks like when looking through the lens. They were smart over at Lynx because they realized, hey, you probably sometimes want to be able to see even when you have a headset on. And so let's just take the cameras that we're using to sense the world around us. The Oculus has them too, but only really uses them to make sure you don't run into things. And let's just send that high definition video right to your eyeballs so that you can see what's around you, but then we can put stuff on top of it. And you can go full VR if you want. When I saw that, I was like, this is smart. And there's other companies that have done this. Microsoft has the HoloLens, which is like thousands of dollars. It's very expensive. But Lynx just recently announced, hey, we decided we're going to gear this headset towards the consumer market and we're going to make it really affordable. Plus, they hate Facebook, which, I mean, you know, is not that crazy of a stance these days. But, you know, I feel a lot better going to guys who prefer open source development and want to be transparent and don't want to just, you know, addict people psychologically to their device so that they can sell them ads. And so I was all in on this Lynx headset. They're starting a Kickstarter this September. They've already done one successfully, and then they're launching out their devices sometime in 2022. But just a couple days ago, I saw an interview with the founder, the head of Lynx, talking about where he sees AR and VR going. Even with like kind of his perspective on where it's going, kind of being different than mine, I think the technology side of things, which obviously I am not an expert in, what they're doing over there seems really innovative and incredible to me. And so I still think the device could be very useful, but it does worry me. The founder has the view of the use of these VR headsets that he does, because I just don't think it's quite on the mark.
In 5 to 10 years, we might wear some stuff on our head, but they won't look like glasses. I don't wear glasses. I don't want to wear them. Even traditional glasses, it will be too much for me. I don't want them. And now you have to explain to me, oh, you have to charge them, you have to clean them, or be careful of the camera here. It is not going to
But
look.
they will give you superpowers.
The social aspect of this stuff is going to be crucial. We have to think about something else, something more fashion, like a different kind of form factor, and it will give you superpowers. But don't be mistaken. I'm not sure it will be the glasses we all imagine today.
The guy he's talking to makes a great point.
There is this argument as well to say something along the lines of, I don't want to carry a black brick in my pocket all the time. But because it has all of this functionality, the functionality of a phone just elevates it to the point where you don't mind the inconvenience of carrying it around. And it's not really that much of an inconvenience.
I think people are going to be totally okay with looking a little bit silly, and then it will become normalized if these devices are really useful. I think the bigger issues are comfort and utility. If it's super uncomfortable, it doesn't matter how useful it is. If it gives you headaches, like that's just not going to work out. But I think we can get over that. And if, there's no good apps or no good reason to use it, people aren't going to use it. But once there becomes good reasons, and I think the technology is so cool that there's going to become a lot of good reasons, I think people will get over it looking silly, and they will look cooler, and the designs will get better for sure. But I think it's utility before design. And that's coming from somebody with a design background. Normally, I wouldn't be preaching that, but I think this is a case where it's true. People will forgive looking kind of silly if it's really useful. The second point he makes, this is a big one for me. They ask him, okay, what is actually the future of AR and VR? How are we actually going to use it, especially AR, because that's something unique to the Lynx?
I can start with what AR won't do. So AR will not replace your smartphone. It will not replace your laptop. Just like the smartphone did not replace the laptop and the laptop didn't replace the desktop. We still have all these things around us. But it will be it is a new man-machine interface. It's a new way to input stuff from a computer and get some output.
This point to me, it's like, look, okay, it could be that I don't understand the technology well enough. I know that there are difficulties in where and when you can sort of see things. The light amount that's coming into your headset, into your eyes, could make things complicated. But for me, this absolutely will replace your phone and your computer, or at least make them much less used. Because here's the thing, all that this really is an interface for you to use while you're around the world. But why, if you have some sort of headset on and you're waiting in a dentist office or you're waiting in line for something, couldn't you just project into the world, maybe even onto like a piece of plastic or something, a phone screen? Or when you're sitting at the dentist, why couldn't you just project a computer monitor screen? The processing power doesn't even have to be in your headset. I mean, there's already applications like this, right? With Virtual Desktop being one of the most popular apps for VR. And all it really does is give you a beautiful environment within which to use your own computer. You could have your computer running some software at home that then you can tap into and bring that computer with you and all the power of a desktop wherever you go. You could be gaming, playing League of Legends with just like a Bluetooth keyboard or maybe a Bluetooth controller, anywhere, while you just have a few minutes to kill. That to me is huge, And I know a lot of people in the VR space are thinking, okay, like what's a really cool game in VR? What's a really cool like experience we can give people? And I think that stuff is useful and is cool. But the real power to me is to say, hey, you can take the nicest TV in the world with you everywhere you go. You can have it with you in the dentist office, be watching your favorite show or whatever you want on a beautiful screen without bothering anybody else or anybody else knowing. That is powerful. You can have the full power of your desktop with you, and you can be gaming while you're on a break at work, gaming on your desktop PC. That's amazing. You can have an upgraded phone whenever you want, just through your headset. You don't have to be buying these phones anymore. That's super cool. I even think it would be super cool if there was, all right, bear with me here. This is a little fringe idea. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I'd love to hear your feedback, but I think this would be cool. So imagine there's a controller. It's kind of like phone shaped, right? Think Super Nintendo controller, where it's just like a square, right? On one side is nothing. It's just, flat. On the other side is a controller. So it's like the Super Nintendo controller where you have some buttons, some joysticks, right? That way, you can either project onto it a phone screen, interact with it like you would a phone, but it's just a blank slate. And on the other hand, you have a controller with you. And this can be a great interface. Now, I know that headsets usually come with their own hand-controlled joysticks, and I think that's good. And Lynx actually didn't have that to begin with. They just had hand recognition, but now they are implementing these controllers. I think those are necessary. I think those are good. But I think a lot of times if you're out and about and you're just using this casually for various, device interfaces or whatever you want to do, watching YouTube, playing a game, it's a lot more convenient instead of being the weirdo. I think this is where people actually really feel weird, being the weirdo that's like waving your hands around at the dentist office or wherever you are, grocery store. It's much more chill to just have a little, thing that you're just scrolling through or you're using as a controller. That is really low key, allows you to do whatever you want, interface really easily. And honestly, it's sometimes not the most intuitive to try to be using these joysticks to like grab things and stuff. Sometimes you just want what you're used to, a little controller or even a little Bluetooth keyboard. So I think having multiple ways to interface and thinking about the more casual use cases other than these really intense immersive games, that becomes really interesting. Saying, oh, this isn't going to replace your phone, this isn't going to replace your computer, to me, shows a lack of understanding of that core use case that is going to be so cool for so many people. It's also very non-intrusive. If you're in any public place and you just have this little headset on, obviously you need headphones that work well with the headset, and you're just watching Netflix or whatever in a movie theater, nobody even knows. Nobody knows what you're doing. It's a lot better than watching YouTube on your little phone or watching Netflix or trying to play a mobile game when you could be playing frickin', any game you want. Even with the power of your desktop. I think that is really where VR is being neglected. Somebody could take and embrace this side of things, and I really hope it's Lynx, because I think what they stand for is amazing. They're standing up against the values or lack thereof that Facebook has, and their technology seems really amazing too. A small company like Lynx could come in with their values, take over the market, kick Facebook to the side, even with their billions of dollars. But I'm afraid that with some of the things I've heard the head of Lynx talking about, it may not happen. And that's not to say they're not a great company, because there's so much involved with creating a headset. There's so much tech. There's so much innovation. There's like manufacturing. There is, development, getting developers to make apps that utilize your hardware. Just so many facets that I think they're doing a really great job of. I just hope that they can recognize the product side of things. I'd love to hear from you guys, like what you think about this. If you think I'm right, if you think I'm dead wrong, if you think Suck is going to be our multiverse overlord or not. Let me know in the comments. Happy to hear from you. Until next time, take care.